Welcome everyone. Sonny, how we doing?
It's amazing.
This is your nature observatory, right? I love it. In the morning, we have done hang out out there.
How we doing, everybody? Hope we all had a good day. Pretty fun one. We were a little choppy these first couple days, and this one ended up being the one we wanted, huh? Yeah, depended where you were. This nice bounce. This was a good bounce here. And then this little part, that was a little slow, but once we pushed back up here, going right into a bond auction, that was game on for me. So the best stock ever. Shoot, I think got a little smoked today. I thought it might bounce there in the morning. I'm still holding my calls though. The puts I had I traded puts and calls yesterday. I was able to get out of most of the calls into close on that little bit of IV juice. Then got to cash the puts today. Nothing huge. I don't exactly remember what they did, but nothing huge on them. But then now I got some, I don't know, February 16th or whatever that next expiration is, calls on it. Some 17.5s. Just because it wasn't like bad earnings, it just wasn't great, so I think it's something to buy. Oh yeah, Tesla, man, I had hopes for them. When they initially released, definitely pretty ugly, and then man, they quickly put out those like releases with the buzzwords that they needed to say, but conference call started, and those buzzwords were not enough. I mean, that was pretty bad earnings on Tesla's part. I mean, they missed on everything, said that they will be making less vehicles, said that they're taking a giant hit just trying to produce Cybertrucks, while also saying they're going to up production of Cybertrucks. I don't know. And it's Tesla, so I'll probably end up being wrong and that thing will moon tomorrow. But to me, that is not a report to buy the dip on. Thoughts on SMC? I don't ever want to look at that stock again. What do you mean? SMCI. Yep, right down. Let's see, even we got to get even longer back for this. Okay, so right back here at $42 is where Norvin was telling us to buy SMCI, and we all made fun of him. Then he came back and it was at 90, and he was still telling us to buy SMCI, and we all laughed at him. And now SMCI is at 496. The buy sell thing, it should be pinned in my tab, I believe. If you can't find it, let me know and I can DM it to you then also. But yep, that's SMCI. I hate that stock. Yeah, I assume you're talking about Tesla. Yeah, and I mean it is interesting, because they it's interesting because they like all these numbers are down while they set record yearly sales. So I mean, it's interesting, it's all interesting to see like what's going to happen. And they didn't guide good, and sometimes it's when a company, like we've talked about it in class, everybody knows I hate Tesla, so we've talked about it a million times. It is the only mega that's in a downtrend, and it's still like this thing is obliterated. I mean, it's still down over 50% from highs, something like that. Oh, sorry, we're down here. I mean, we're down over 50% from highs, and God, we're even way down here now. So this thing's pushing down 55% from highs. I mean, it's the only mega name that hasn't got it figured out yet. And so that is a pretty telling situation, you know. I do think I was talking about it earlier, you know, this 194.20 definitely like the last line of defense. And then below there, we can like as if it's not beat up enough, we can definitely continue to see some more selling, you know. But you know, hopefully for them, they guided bad so that they have an easier beat. You know, they like Elon's such an exaggerator. He's always had a problem with like guiding pretty good, and they've missed a lot. You know, Tesla's only been profitable a few years now. You know, so they've missed a lot. So I'll be really curious to see. You know, all kinds of speculation always flies around on that stock. Nobody ever actually knows what it's going to do, though. You know, so it will be fun to watch it here in the coming bit. Definitely smoked coming down to that big level already. Add the label you circled in yellow. Oh, well, you just have to, I mean, where it is popping up over there and saying 435.73 or whatever, I can't exactly see what that number is. That's telling you the price that your limit sell will fill at 51 or whatever that is, that your limit sell will fill at. That's the price it needs to get to for those to fill it. That's that red number on your chart that's coming off of those lines, I think. But I can't really see, so maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying. Where do I think Tesla's headed? I mean, 194 is the first thing to watch, and we're there, you know, pretty much. But then I would just look at it on the weekly. I would start to come back here to these like God, these like 2020 lows or something. That's funny. You know, I would definitely have my eyes on some of these wicks from way back here. That's the first places I would be looking. So it's like what 186, 181. Yeah, really nothing else that I'd really be super concerned with in there. But those are next places to watch. And then again, just always look for, in my opinion, you know, always look for those major bottom areas where like, you know, something like this where you took a big bounce, obviously, you know, look to those areas. I'm not saying Tesla's gone to 150. I would be happy if it did, but you know, I always, you know, always try to be cautious on, you know, being greedy on downside, especially on something like Tesla that like one of these days, I'm telling you right now, Tesla's going to have like a 5 or 10% in like 2 days. It's going to be up 5 or 10%. Might not be soon, but I would be surprised if Tesla doesn't put in a real big up move sooner than later, even if it's just for one day and it's not sustained. When will we do the lecture on low IV stocks? Soon, next week, likely. Flipz was just in VC today, and he said he'd be getting here a few minutes late. I haven't seen if he's got here yet. But he just said today in VC, we haven't done a lecture together in a while. We might as well do a Q&A. And so I said, you got it, Flipz. So we'll do those low IVs next week. I think my class is Thursday, maybe, but we'll make sure we get to them then. Some Spotify puts, huh? Man, I gotta be honest, I'm just not a bear. Like I don't do, oh yeah, and I mean I'm probably not shorting this thing either. Oh, now that I look at it. Yeah, not where I'd be hitting puts. I'm just not a bear. I don't do the long-term put thing. I don't know. I know it works for a lot of people and stuff, but it's just not how I trade. If you're trying to talk somebody into shorting something long-term, unless it's a weed stock or PLTR, I'm basically not on board, you know. I'm a dip buyer. Like it's just how I prefer to trade, you know. But for me, looking at this thing, I'm gonna need more time on this daily chart. So give me 1 second. For me, looking at this thing, I mean, I'm not like this is in major breakout area. Like, you know, this 200 level should be the line in the sand. I mean, you can probably catch a nice trade down to it if we get a pullback, but you don't really want to be short until we give up that 200. Like, look at how this thing has behaved in this area in the past. And, you know, when we broke down, nice selling, obviously, you know, acted as strong resistance for days. Finally, we're able to break above it. That's what I'd be looking at. I've traded Spotify like twice in my life, so I don't know how it moves. But for me, I'm personally not trying to be short above 200. I'm buying dips down there to that 200. Thoughts on AMD? You just want to torture me with SMCI? I mean, man, I don't know what you really want me to say here. pretty like, I mean, I hope like don't like blind short it. Got to get into the 4 hour to see. I mean, that's all we got for here. Obviously, that was pretty crucial right there. And then obviously you got to mark that fresh high over here. And then if I was trying to trade this tomorrow, I mean, the main things that I'd be concerned with would be previous high day, which is also all-time high, I think. And then previous low day, which we already had on that chart there. So then if I was going to play it today, I would be playing mostly around that range. And then or play it tomorrow. And then I would look for those pre-market highs and lows and just kind of trade around those. And then other than that, you're going to have to trade the price action sort of stuff, types of things like Flipz does where, you get a nice consolidation like this. He probably hit this today. Nice consolidation like this, reducing volume, whole bunch of inside candles, catch that breakout or stop if it fails, that's, stocks trading and all-time highs are tricky. You can do things like pull up fibs, stuff like that. But generally you just want to trade the price action that is on the chart. That's going to be your best bet. We could mark this as a price level on here, but since we have so little data up here, we don't know that 176.30 or whatever will ever matter again. So I personally don't mark them. I stay concerned with the highs and lows and then trade off those pre-market highs and then the intraday or the intraday price action if you can. Elon wants to get 25% ownership, but the dude had 25% ownership, and then you want to see what happened the last time Elon had 25% ownership of this company? So right somewhere, we'll have to go a little farther back. So around here, well, he sold here, but then he was down to like 21%. Then he decided that he didn't want to own that much, so he dropped his stake to 12%, and he tanked the stock over 50%. The market capitulated following him, and so that's terrible. I mean, they would have to be like, you would have to be an idiot to give that guy control again, in my opinion. How do you use active trader instead of stop loss? Yeah, sure. So we're just going to pull this up. I'm not going to click any of these buttons. I'm not trying to have any funky orders on 100 shares of Tesla go through right now. But pretend this is the option contract and this, we're trading this, and we'll just say this is what these option contracts are going for. Well, you'll see numbers on the left side and the right side. The left side is going to be the bid side. The right side is going to be the ask side. So you place your sell orders on the right hand side. If you want to set a stop loss, then you need to move your mouse down below the bid prices. So you can see when I drag my mouse over, it says sell 100 stop. All you have to do is click and that will set a stop loss for you. Whereas if you're up here by the bid, it changes to limit. So if you click that, you are going to sell your 100 shares to the person bidding right there. So you always need to make sure that you are below the bid price. And then it will pop up a line on your chart to show you where that falls. And so if you want to drag and trail your stop up, it will move the line on your chart and tell you where that stop out will come. Hopefully that covered it. You want cheap Tesla calls? Yeah, I mean, everybody does. Flipz, there we go. I'm going to find you. I'm going to unmute you, and I'm going to answer these last couple of questions, and we're going to get rolling. Mad Flipz. Yep. Yeah, you want cheap Tesla calls? So that's how me and Flipz do it. For placing any of those orders, we use active trader. And so on the buy side, it also works, Let's get into a shorter time frame and just kind of give an example. Say Flipz is buying Tesla calls but we're trading up here. But he says, I want to buy them at 208. You can set a limit order way below where the bid is, figure out where that price is, and you can have your order sitting there. So that's how I do it a lot. I know that's how Flipz does it a lot. And so if you get that pullback, if we look at the chart here and we were trying to buy the pullback to this level after this big red candle, love buying a red candle. We're trying to buy the pullback to here. We might have our order waiting in case something like this happens. Like, I don't know how this candle played out, but there's a very good chance that it shot down here and then wicked way up and never never went back to that price. So the people who were trying to market order in, or the people who didn't have orders waiting, they missed the fill. But if you have the limit order sitting right there, then you're good to go. On the other side of it, say you were looking for a bounce to VWAP. You can come over here, and on the sell side, you can set a sell limit order as long as you're above the ask. So you could set your order, drag it around until you find VWAP. And then if you get that volatile bounce up to VWAP, it's going to sell you because your order has been waiting. So your order will fill even if it barely touches it for a couple of seconds. So that was a quick rundown. Hopefully that was good enough for you. Flipz, how you doing? Can you talk? Did it work?
Good, bro. Yeah, that was a very good explanation. You just have to set your order where you want to buy it, and then drag your mouse to hit that level. So many times people ask, how did you get that fill? And it's because we buying calls when it's coming down, you're getting the best fill because people are trying to sell the limit order or market order. And that's how you get filled. And when it starts bouncing, those prices change right away. So when you put market, when it's bouncing, you're going to get filled somebody else selling.
And then for how Flipz and I both trade a lot, we'll buy things at EMAs, pullbacks to EMAs or whatever it is. You can have that order just waiting there. So you don't have to do anything, and Flipz does such a good job at this. Like, we'll just, again, using a random Tesla level, but the stock could be up here and people could be saying, Tesla calls, Tesla calls, Tesla calls. And he's going to say, if it dips to 208.64, buy them. And that's when he places his order. Like, you see Flipz, he doesn't chase. He doesn't, well, we all chase on occasion, but he doesn't chase. He's a very calculated trader. And so this is where he wants to buy calls. So he just puts the order there and you let the trade come to you. So the people who are trying to catch the knife too early are getting smoked. Whereas we wait for a level and say, oh yeah, we stop out, $1 below us or whatever it is. So just have those orders waiting. It also helps with having the trigger finger where maybe you're buying things that you shouldn't be buying. If you place your orders and just let them sit there, it solves your problem of, getting in early or, taking a trade you shouldn't trade. It can be really helpful that way. Okay, so let's see. Do we got any questions? How do we pick the stocks that we're going to trade for the day? Well, I don't want to speak for Flipz, but I trade like 5 stocks. So there's not a lot of picking for me, I focus on so few stocks that I don't. Most of them provide a trade every day, so I really don't go looking. I don't know if Flipz is any different, but I also know that he trades like 5 stocks. So I'm pretty sure we just look at the stocks we like to trade and trade them.
AMD, Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
using SPY.
Yeah, and that's me. I'm like SPY, QQQ. AMD lately because why not? Amazon, Apple. That's what I trade. That's what I trade every day. AT&T, of course, best stock ever. But that's all. That's what I trade throughout the day. So I don't really have to go looking for anything like that. Wow, a lot of people asking about SPY. Elon wants cheap Tesla. Yeah, maybe he does. That guy's an idiot though. This is Thinkorswim for whoever asked. And then active trader is just this thing, and this one's just for the shares. It's we can help people set them up. I got lectures on setting it up if you want. But the active trader is just the thing that makes it really, really easy to enter and exit trades, know how much, like you'll even hear it in here, like how I trade a lot of the time, I'll enter SPY calls or SPY puts or whatever it is. And then I'll tell people I'm risking about $7 a contract. And I know that because I set my stop and then I say, okay, I'm going to stop out, say I'm stopping out under 210 or whatever. I set my stop and then I can see, oh, I paid $50. I'm stopping out for $43. So I can say, hey, I'm risking like $7, so I use that all the time. No, I don't like to leave a hard stop because of wicks and stuff, but it can give you a good idea of where your stop out's going to be and where your take profit's going to be just really easily. But if you do it with options, you just have to, you have to have an additional square and then you just send the option contract to it. Let's see. I wonder if I got any worthless contracts expiring in here. We'll just go to this one. Oh, that's an old one. Give me 1 second. So see, you have an extra square like this, and then if you have this drop down here, I think I finally got mine working. So I've never been able to use this before, but we'll see what's gonna happen here. Spy. Oh, no, still doesn't do it for me. Yeah, not gonna do it for me. You get a contract here and it works the exact same way as it does for shares. Same as the bid, you'll see the price in the middle, all of that, you know. So it's just the exact same thing. But you just have to do a little bit of setting up of your screen to make it work is all. Well, you know what price to set it at because a line pops up on your chart. So if you're trying to dip buy to back here, then you just set the order right here, you know? Like if you're trying to buy the dip here and it's up here, you just place that limit order way, you know, below the bid price and it'll pop a line up on your chart. At least if you're on Thinkorswim, you know, you got to be on Thinkorswim in my opinion. But it'll just pop a line on your chart so you know where it is. Let's see. And so, yeah, we got there pretty good. So we got Mad Flipz here. We'll get this officially rolling in here. We got Mad Flipz here. Oh yeah, people don't like when I call Elon an idiot. Man, it's not my fault he didn't invent the cars or the rockets or anything else, dude. He just bought those companies. He didn't, you know, do anything for them. He just bought them. Okay, so we got Mad Flipz here. Everybody say hello to Mad Flipz. Lucky to have him here. And so just a little Q&A tonight. You know, I know Voice Chat can get a little bit crazy, a lot of fun in that place, you know, and sometimes it's just not the right time to ask questions. So this will be a really, really great time to, you know, ask Flipz any questions, ask me any questions, ask any questions you got. Hopefully we will be able to answer them, you know, and, you know, we'll get to pick Mad Flip's brain. It's always nice when we get to do that, you know. And so with that, we will get rolling. If anybody's got questions, feel free to ask them. But Flipz, how you doing? Printer of a day for you.
Good, bro. Good. Yeah, really good day today. We swing those AMDs. We found that for the people that are asking me, we found that AMD swing on the 4-hour chart. If you change AMD to the 4-hour, look how the candle closed.
Yeah, beauty.
We had a big hammer.
I buy that candle every time.
Yep.
Yeah, I buy that.
It's a big bull flag or big pole with the second 4-hour candle closing as a hammer over the 90 MA.
Yeah,
that's a very bullish trade. That's why we swing those from yesterday. Yep. The second entry was support was on the little gap on the pre-market.
Oh, so you just bought the bottom?
The bottom. Yeah, we bought that bottom.
You cashed the swing, bought the dip, and ran it, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And then we enter on after the first 25 minutes on the flag.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
That's funny. Before you were in here, I had AMD pulled up, and I was like, "And see me and Flipz, we love to trade like a bunch of inside candles, reducing volume in, you know, consolidation, play that breakout." I was like, "I bet Flipz took this," and you actually took it. Yeah, this is like this trade right here is like, at least in my opinion, dude, this is the Flipz bread and butter of like,
if you look at
consolidation with a shit ton of inside candles, and then he somehow is like, oh yeah, this is the one where we want to buy it. Like we aren't going to get chopped up, but this is the one where we want to buy it and then catch the breakout. And just, I know I got an interesting volume indicator down here, but I love this setup of breakout, and it works the other way. Breakdown, consolidation, continued breakdown, but breakout, consolidation. With the key to me is I love all these inside candles. Like we have this big candle here, and I know we have like some wicks sticking out, but we have this big candle here, and the next 6 candles are inside of it. A move is coming. If you do get long, your stop is just like right down here. Tiny risk, you know.
Easiest way to look at it is on your third ray candle inside of consolidation. Do the wick from the top, and touch the second 5-minute candle. The wick, no, from wick to wick. Yeah, like a flag. Bring that flag to the right. Yeah. And if you bring it down, there's the consolidation. There's the hammer. At the 9, you have the 90 MA, and you have the tip of the flag, and that's where you do your calls.
Yep, and it's perfect, and it works so repeatably, you know. And like, and if you get long here, then you can stop out below the trend. If you get long here, you can stop out below this trend, you know. And so there's there's so little risk. There's so many options to either, stop out or find yourself in a whole position as opposed to a half position or whatever, And so trades like this are just, and they happen frequently in the market, I mean, it's how everybody says they hate choppy days, but they love the days that come after a choppy day, And so, I mean,
Correct.
even SPY is a prime example, if we look at SPY, look at what we did for 2 days. We did nothing, and then suddenly at the end of 2 days, we get a ripper followed by a dump. And the market does that over and over and over again. So, you don't have to love trading these days, but you should love seeing a couple of choppy days in the market because something's coming. And so we can take that and apply it. It doesn't matter if you're looking on, the monthly, weekly time frame or the 5-minute time frame. We apply the same thing. We want consolidation because consolidation provides explosive moves. And that's what we're all in this for, is those nice fast moves upside or downside, whatever it is, So sick trade, beautiful trade as always, Flipz. Let's see, I'm going to start seeing what kind of questions we got. How much can a good trader make yearly? A bunch. I've seen the question, how do you do that with options, but I'm not sure what that is pertaining to. Somebody just asked, how can you show how to use the 4-hour and 1 hour on today? Well, we just did it. We'll go back to that just so Flipz can kind of address this a little bit more. So at least what I'm seeing, I'm sure is similar to what Flipz is seeing here. It's a similar thing. We have a whole bunch of consolidation, and yes, this is after hours. The dark gray is after hours, we have a whole bunch of consolidation followed by some buying where they actually close a 4-hour candle above this 9 EMA. That next 4-hour candle, they tried to sell us below it, but they ended up closing us, and as weird as this is something I talk about. Flipz talks about it a lot. This is a red candle. There's no denying it. Don't think that is bearish just because it's red. To me, a candle like this is super bullish, because at one point you have to envision this candle and say, okay, it was solid red. Like this was a solid red bar for a little bit. And by the end of that 4 hours, after a big strong one like this, you get another one like this. At the end of that 4 hours, the buyers had won. This is a very bullish candle. So you buy that. And then if you're Flipz, you swing it and you get like a $3, $4 gap up, and nice. So, and I mean, is that how you see it, Flipz? That's just my explanation. I mean,
no, that's so the way that I look at it is that if you continue looking at your 4-hour guys, the AMD swing from today came from Monday and Tuesday double bottom. If you look at it, the double, there you go, double bottom on the 4-hour. We love double bottoms into a flag.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. Yeah,
we hit. That's one of my favorite bullish trade. You hit a double bottom, then you see a consolidation. You can change that chart to the 1 hour, and you're going to see the consolidation most likely where the hammer is from yesterday.
Big hammer up, nice consolidation.
That's your consolidation sideways, which is exactly what we're looking for. Then it ended up as a hammer on the 4-hour, and that we're looking for that breakout on the upside.
Yep. And then it did. And then, that's just one of those things, you never know if you're going to be right. But I mean, I didn't even notice how perfect this double bottom is, but you have that double bottom, you have a nice consolidation, you have bullish closings on candles. This is one of those times where like you take the trade, something that I talk a lot about, because I do a lot of private work with people, and something that you learn as a trader is, and Shark said it to Toasty one time. Toasty was struggling with this a while ago. He said, you got to swing the bat, you have to take the stab. And this is one of those things where, I mean, you just heard how Flipz went through it. You heard how I would go through it. Look for all these forms of confirmations. You got a double bottom, you got nice consolidation, you got candles closing bullish, you have flags forming on the hourly chart on a stock that you zoom out on this thing, you buy dips on this. You don't try to short this thing. Sure, maybe you can catch one, but you buy dips on this thing. So you're already looking at it in bull mode. And then when you have things like nice double bottoms on long time frames, bullish closings, consolidations, flags forming, you swing the bat, and right or wrong, you got to take the stab on something like that. Let's see. Do you use fib levels intraday? Flipz does. I know.
Yes.
I hit them on occasion. I actually used one today.
That's how I
Because
found the bottom on AMD for the bounce again.
nice. That's a good one. This was one that I did today because I was getting short into that bond auction, and because they've been selling us off or whatever, And so my whole thought, I was out of the trade like right here because I said, it was a weak bond auction. I didn't think, I didn't necessarily think we were going to continue selling. And I just looked at the fib and said, I mean, the 38.2 is a very likely bounce point. 50% very likely bounce point ended up not being ended up just dumping below it. But I ran a fib today. I don't use them frequently, but when you're looking for kind of more of a speculative news like move that's not based on levels, they're a wonderful thing to try to use. You used them on AMD Flipz, huh? On which one?
Yeah. So you go to AMD today,
Today?
and today, and you got it from the bottom to the top. From the peak of the bottom to the peak of the top. And this is an easy way, guys, for you to have levels without having to chart a lot.
Yeah.
Wait from the bottom of the day, you wait to the top of the day, the consolidation comes down. If you look at his chart right now, I know he has a bunch of lines, but the 38.2%, we close right over it on the top. Yep.
Yeah, here, and I'll just okay, I'll get rid
There you
of
go.
I'm getting rid of everything. So we got the blue line, but we only got fib levels.
So
38.2.
as you guys heard, 38.2% is in the 50 fib. The 38.2 and the 50 are very big levels of bouncing or returning and we know that today AMD was a monster to the upside. So I expect a bounce out of the 38.2 or the 50. When the last candle closed right on top of the 38.2, that's a hint for me to utilize the level. And that's where I bought the bottom of that candle right there. Yep. 38.2, and then I rode it all the way up to 178.35.
Yeah, that's a beauty right there. That's a beauty.
Easy trade. That was like a 20-minute trade, and it actually paid very, very nice. It was almost like a $2.15 move.
Wow, yeah, that's a good one. And these are like for anybody that doesn't use fibs, they're all based on statistics. They work wonderfully because the market moves around statistics frequently. And you can assume that the deeper you get, the more and more likely it bounces. However, when you really get momentum moving one way, it can go against you, So they work as really great stop out levels and take profit levels as well. You can see if you got long here, it makes sense to be trimming at this next fib up. And if it breaks down, you have to be out. I mean, you should likely be out as we're breaking into this flag, but you have to be out if it's going to give up the 50% fib. If it's not bouncing here, it's going to continue going down. So it works if you don't, like Flip said, if you don't chart a lot, you aren't super into support and resistance or whatever, this is a really, really great way to get some intraday levels off of the charts. So hopefully that answered your questions. Yeah, Flipz is a master at turning the small port to the big port. Probably more than you guys even know, if I'm going to be honest with you.
The what?
It says Flipz is a master at turning small ports to big ports. And I said more than they even know.
They have no idea.
Yeah, dude. So this person, I see these same questions. The same thing that I said on here. You want to set up a limit order? And look, you can even see it. The gray line is popping up here because these are shares, If you click a limit, this gray line, you'll see it pop up right over here. This gray line will pop up on your chart. So you can set a limit order at say like we can even do it here, you could say, okay, we got the fib at 176.77 way down here, this is where I want to set my limit order. And you could have set this limit order when we were up here, assuming we're bouncing the 38.2, you just come and set your limit order. All you got to do is click and you're good to go. Wiz, good money. So you heard what Flip said. He says he kind of just likes to wait for a few candles, maybe a few red candles here. But let some consolidation happen. And then I know with him, You know, and he watches a lot of flow as well. I'm more just a pure volume type of person.
Volume.
I'm gonna look, and I mean, Flipz is obviously a master of volume as well, but the flow volume combo for him crushes. For me, I'm really just looking for us to get down here. I'm gonna start considering buying on these candles because we have now gone well below average volume. And so once we have gone below average volume, and I see the first one kind of starting to like, oh, you know, we're kind of starting to go sideways here. Maybe we're picking up, see a little doji. I'm going to start looking into buying here and probably be buying one of these two candles. Obviously, the breakout came off the 9. But I like to watch volume just drop, 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 drop while the stock's basically going sideways because you know that move is coming.
That's exactly what we talk about every day in class, guys. River just hit it right on the top of the nail. It's seeing the consolidation, meaning the stock is not selling back down, and the volume is slowing down, meaning buyers are still adding up. See, the volume is still slowing down, but the stock is going sideways. That means that they're consolidating, they're sticking there. And then when you see the bottom of the flag, and all of a sudden you see a bigger buyer, even though that the volume candle is smaller than the previous candle, but it's a 3-to-1, meaning there's 3%, there's 66% buyers to 33% sellers, like the one that he's highlighting right there. That just tells you that they're taking over now. On the bottom of the consolidation, buyers are taking over, and then after that, it just ripped again.
It just ripped, and it just ripped for you.
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, that's just, I don't know, that's something that I pay a ton of attention to because, you know, there's like a million different things in the market and blah, 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 and like all these different indicators, and everybody thinks, you know, they're going to find the winning indicator. There's only two things in the market that are 100% true all the time and work every time: price and volume. Price goes nowhere without volume. And, you know, you can have nice low volume grind up, but you watch the volume and suddenly how the market moves will start to make a whole bunch more sense to you because you see when market participants are actually doing something, you know, like they're waiting, you know, because the algos, all the people, we're all doing the same things. We're all waiting for consolidation and breakouts, or, you know, even consolidation and breakdown. Who cares what way it goes? You trade it, you know, up or down, doesn't matter. Don't be a bull, don't be a bear. None of that matters. Just trade the market, and volume will always tell you what is going on in the market. Like you'll even hear it. Flipz, you know, one of the ones that I hear him talk about all the time is, you know, you guys will be in calls and he'll be like, okay, watch out. I just saw, you know, 3 million coming in shorts or whatever it is. That's volume. You know, and it all comes back to volume. And if you know suddenly someone is willing to put millions of dollars of risk on shorts when you're in long, the volume is telling you that you should likely protect those longs if you can.
Trim, yeah.
Yeah, trim. Like you're in SPY calls and suddenly you see huge SPY put flow. You need to be trimming those, you know. No. So JS, good question. You're saying, is the consolidation bearish because it's going upwards? No. And that's why you will, and even, you know, Flipz does it. If even Flipz, me almost all the time, you will never hear me say bull flag, bear flag. You will hear me say flagging because there's so much left to, like, you know, like interpretation of what they can be. But I like to look for, you know, what I'm always going to look for on any type of consolidation. We'll remove the fibs. Any type of consolidation, I am looking for breakout, aka pull, if you're thinking of a flag, and then consolidation, which is the flag. You know, the flag is just consolidation. So the problem is people will say, oh, it's inclined up, or they'll say, you know, oh, is it a bear flag because it's pointed up? No, because like when you really break it down to super, like, you know, the technical meaning of these patterns, if the trend is up, a bear flag cannot happen. A bear flag doesn't exist when the market is trending upwards, no matter what it looks like. So a flag in an uptrend can only be a bull flag. A flag in a downtrend can only be a bear flag. So that's why I stick to, it's a flag. That's it. It's a flag, you know. And all a flag is a breakout consolidation, or, you know, breakdown. Even this one, you could even, you know, since we are technically, as of right here, in a downtrend, you could theoretically call this a little bear flag up into that EMA for a short. I wouldn't take the trade because why would you short a beast like this, you know? But that's why I always think of it as, you know, breakout consolidation. That's what makes a flag a flag. So don't get too caught up in like people's opinions of, oh, it's pointed up, it's pointed down, it's bearish, it's bullish, you know. Just say, we broke out, we consolidated, I want some more breakout, or I want some more breakdown, and send it. Do you agree? Do you agree with that, Flips? Is that how you think?
Yeah, man, it's 100%. I look at like this. I look at the poll that we just talked about. Easiest way, if you guys don't like to trade the first 10 minutes, I love to trade the first 10, 15 minutes. I love it. Just because I trust my resistance, my supports a little bit too much. But if you don't, the easiest way to do this, can you shift it to the 15 minutes? I haven't looked at this graph in the 15 yet.
Yeah.
But look at in the 15 minute, just shift over. There's your pull.
There's a nice breakout.
Yep. There's your pull, and there's consolidation, and then there's your breakout. That's the easiest thing that you can look at, and you can draw a flag from there down.
And you can do this. And then just to go back, you know, you can have limit orders for breakouts too. Just to go back, touching on the active trader. If you want to catch this breakout and you're waiting for that volume to pick up, you know, for you or whatever you're doing, have your limit order above the high. If it breaks that high, it's going to push. And so, you know, it can work the same way as, you know, I'm going to buy them on this pullback to here. Well, you can also buy them on the breakout as well. You know, a lot of the time, waiting for a little of that breakout is the best thing to do, you know, because it avoids you getting in early and getting chopped, you know. And so if you aren't on the 15 minute and you're watching this and you got in early, you're getting a little bit worried. But if you've waited for that volume, you've watched the 15 minute, you've let your 15 minute close, you know, second doji, inside candle, whatever you want to call it already. Well, now you start to say, okay, I can get long here and my stop is just going to be 40 cents below me. You know, if we fail this flag, I'm stopping out, no big deal. Or you catch the breakout.
Correct.
Good question. At what point do you buy the fib level? Kind of a hard one to answer, in my opinion.
When you see volume.
Yeah, when you want to see, let's see. We'll see if today's a good example of it. So let's see if today's a good example of it. So on this pullback to here, oh yeah, this is actually a great example. So on this pullback to here, we're pulling back to this fib, and then you are seeing an explosion of volume as we're like coming into the fib. You know, we've had nothing on this sell-off. Big pop in volume. Suddenly you have this big volume candle above average, above most of the candles of the day. Red candle closing green. At this point, I start to get interested. People
worry because it's a red candle. Guys, that's a freaking hammer. That's a bullish candle.
This is so bullish. Yeah. And then what I do, and this is again me personally, and this one's a little tricky having VWAP right there, but let's be real here. Something this bullish, first test of VWAP on the day is statistically not going to break, you know. But I'm going to see this candle. I'm going to see this huge increase in buyer volume. I am buying any dip, mid candle, whenever it is, to this fib right here. You know, once this candle is formed, I know this next candle is my entry. And, you know, Flipz is probably like watching this one saying, if we get a pullback to 176.77, buy it. And
the Fibonacci level, guys, that's where I bought it. I used the fib levels on that trade.
And you just buy it, you know, and then you can see you have this candle. If you've purchased it, you know, you want green, you know, you want green right away on this one. But you still have big volume. You have a red candle again that has more buyer volume than seller volume. So, you know, market is pulling a fast one on people right here. You know, people are bearish on these, when if they look at the volume, they realize, wow, there's nothing bearish about that volume, you know? And so then next one breaks out for you and you break above VWAP, hold VWAP, you're off to the races. You know, that's it. That's how you do that one. But a lot of the time, that's what you got to wait for on a fib. We can even see up here when we were pulling back to this fib, we were just consolidating. I mean, we did get this little breakout, but like this is such a tiny increase in volume that like I don't really even care. And then we're just decreasing volume. So you don't want to be, you know, this isn't a dip buy for me personally, because the volume is just not backing it up. And then you start just losing volume and selling. And then that is when you buy, as Flipz did. You know, I mean, a great trade to show that, like, that's a good one to show this on. What's confirmation of giving up a level? What's your opinion on that one, Flipz?
What's the confirmation for what?
Like, what makes you say, like, you know, and I'm assuming this is what they're asking. They can correct me if I'm wrong. You know, you're in a trade and you say, oh, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to stop out above this level. You know, maybe I'm short and I'm going to stop out above this level. What makes you say I'm stopping out? You know, because like,
If I'm short and it's at the 23.6 fit, if I see the candle close.
Yeah, candle close. Yeah, and that's me too. Because I'm such a scalper. So I let a candle close. I'm not gonna have a hard stop like a cent above this level. You know, I'm gonna let this candle do what it does, because like you can even see right here, like, you know, it had a nice push up, probably scared a lot of people out right there, on that little extra green, thinking it's going to be the breakout candle. I'm always going to wait for it to close just to see if, you know, if I am short, I can reduce my risk here. And you know, and my loss is smaller if I just wait for that candle to close. Of course, sometimes you get blown out of the water and then you just got to stop out. But for me, it's a candle close. Let's see, another one. We're probably so far behind on questions too. Elaborate on how to utilize the moving averages and the difference between that and EMA. And along as clarifying RSI. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna, you know, for me, I'm gonna be blunt about it and say you likely shouldn't use RSI at all. Intraday, it is, and it's not super helpful. You know, there's times and places, daily and weekly chart, it's useful. But for RSI, I mean, I don't need the RSI to tell me AMD is strong. You know, like this thing was probably screaming overbought on the RSI all morning, and people were trying to short it and getting blown out. So I don't like that. EMAs, on the other hand, I love them. Flipz loves them. We trade them all the time. I treat them as, and you know, this is probably a slight generalization, but it is an angled support or resistance. That's the best way to think about it. And so if you consolidate into this thing, you buy that dip. Even if it's sideways, you buy it here and treat it as your support, or resistance if you're on the downside or whatever. You buy these pullbacks into it. That is, in my opinion, one of the greatest ways you can use them. They also, and I use the 9, the 20, and the 50. A lot of people use the 21. They're all, you know, it's all the same. But these are some of the main ones that I use. Just think of it as your support or your resistance. And then it tells you, is the trend up or down? You know, if these are all pointed up and to the right, the trend is likely up and you should be looking to buy dips. If they're all pointed down and to the right, the trend is likely down and you should be looking to short rips, you know? And so that is, in my opinion, one of the best ways to use them. Flipz, what do you think?
100%. I trade resistance and supports, and EMAs are resistance and supports.
Yep.
So if you see the trend bullish, then you continue riding. Every time it nips that 9 EMA, you continue riding the trend until the candle doesn't close bearish below it, like on the top.
Yep.
Candle close reddish below it. We have trend line down until you see your clear next support. AMD is a bullish stock. Stop trying to fucking short the goddamn thing, guys.
Like
I'm going to find the top. Maybe you get lucky and you find the top and you can brag about it. But the stock is goddamn bullish. Yeah. Look for the next.
Like, I mean, I'm sure people shorted up here and were like super hype on their short right here, and good for them. Nice short. However, why didn't you just buy a call down here and write it up $11? You know, like, I'm happy for your $3 short, but you could have caught the 170 to 180 move instead, without having to guess. You know, to me, this is just buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip over and over and over. You know, like AMD gave many entries today. And so do that, you know, take the easy trade. Like, nobody's going to remember your short or your long or none of that at the end of the day. It's,
nope.
You know, like,
they're gonna remember your port green or red. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the people who like tried to get short and got like stopped out. Or the people who shorted here, rode it all the way up and then celebrated when they ended up making like 10% profits and were like, I told you so, you know. Don't be that person. Take the easy trade, you know. Market's bullish, look for bullish setups, you know. And that's another thing to point out, like, you know, we're in a very bullish market. So obviously these breakout upside move consolidations will work. It's the exact opposite if we're in a bearish market, you know, frequently the breakout upside, if like, you know, if market is bearish, if you see a big breakout like this and some consolidation, I'm likely going to be looking short because the market overall is bearish. But in a market like this, you know, like you look to buy dips on this type of thing always, because market is bullish, so upside breakouts are much more likely than downside breakouts, and you know, works the other way. But as I said, you know, as Flipz is saying, quit trying to short this thing, quit trying to short Nvidia, like just quit, you know, just make the easy trade, you know.
Yep.
Fib tool is right down here, and then there's a couple different kinds, but Fibonacci retracement is the one that you know, most of us use for day trading stuff. There is fib extensions, which can actually work really, really well for things that are like trading at all-time highs, you know, like SPY. Tilio's got some great levels posted in his tab from Fibonacci extensions on SPY right now. So when you're in uncharted territories, those extensions can be really, really helpful. I still personally prefer to, you know, hit that 4 hour and know, you know, where the supports and resistance that have been made very recently maybe won't be lasting, but have been working where we are, and know that those are the levels that I'm working around. But this little percent right here is going to be the Fibonacci retracement. Flipz, how do you set your trade plan every day?
I got a crystal ball. No.
Yeah, we'll do the next question is this the same process as for your Hail Marys?
100. Hey,
so
we're 16 out of 17 in those Hail Marys, man.
Well, dude, and I just got to put out, you know, dude, just for like, if for anybody that doesn't know, you know, like, yes, they're a Hail Mary with like more thought than you can even imagine actually
Correct.
behind that Hail Mary, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes me or Flipz are hop into VC with each other and be like, what's up, SPY puts at somewhere stupid, and we'll hit them. But most of these Hail Marys are like this, they're just like all his other trades, you know, high probability trades. But there is something about when he says those words Hail Mary, they tend to fucking, pardon my language,
They work. All I look for is multiple orders in the same spot being divided into separate contracts. Meaning, if I like Qs a lot because of technology, I like to look at tech. So if I see most of my tech moving on the same direction, then I go look at orders for QQQ. And I look at those Qs over and over to see where was the orders coming in and are they getting filled. Is a big order being divided into small orders? Because sometimes, has anybody here ever bought 100 contracts and then only 20 get filled? And then you're like, God damn it, I had 100 contracts. How come only 20 got filled? Well, the reason is because not 100 contracts got sold to you. So if you take 100 contracts and you divide it into 5 different orders of 20, then it can probably get filled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's that. I'm looking for those things over and over at a certain level to let me know that here we go. We're looking, the volume is starting to consolidate, it's starting to squeeze, getting ready for a pop. And those are the Hail Marys that I look for. Now, yeah, some of them they lose, some of them they win, but that's what we look for. It's a probability game.
So I see another question here. What is VWAP? So I use it, Flipz uses it. It's this pinkish purplish line. I don't know how it's showing up to you. So I'm gonna give it like the simplest version ever. How you want to think of it is that as long as we are above it, it's volume weighted average price. So as long as we are above it, we know based on recent volume in the market, the people that are long are making money. If we are below it, the people that are short are making money, or the people that are long are losing money, depending on how you want to look at it. So it can be a very, very great tool of, you know, you should never be super biased into the day. Trade what the market gives you. But if you are trading above VWAP, you are, 9 times out of 10, you are going to do better buying dips. If you're trading below it, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be better shorting rips. And it's the same. It doesn't, because it's based on volume, it doesn't matter if you're looking at the 5, 15, 30 minute, it's all the same price. VWAP is VWAP. It is just telling you based on volume and shares. If you're up here and you're long, you're making money. If you're down here and you're long, you're losing money. So it's just kind of a nice way to have a little bit of an idea of the market sentiment of is it bullish or bearish or whatever it is. What's this volume indicator I'm using? I wish it's actually just from a buddy of mine. And he is awesome, man. I just haven't, he's been going through some stuff and I've actually reached out a couple of times to ask if I could share it. And he put a lot of work into this, it's 700 lines of code for it or something like that. And so I don't feel right sharing it unless he says you can share it. But it's just a fancy thing, tells you, percentage of current bars selling, buying, whatever it is. And then these blues and purples, they tell you deviations. So it's basically telling you that like volume is higher than average and buyer volume is higher than the average has been to the, a full deviation. Right here, you actually see a deviation to the short side. The problem is, I don't really care about it in the beginning of the day or the end of the day because those are the highest volume parts of the day. So these deviations of, we went from a candle that had 22,000 volume to a candle that had 3 million volume, 2 million, 3 million, so yeah, we are some deviations away from the average, obviously. So you don't want to care about those as much, but when you start seeing them in the middle of the day, that's when you care. Ooh, how do you manage a stop loss on a same day contract? It's tricky. Generally, like it depends if you're talking SPY or what you're talking, if you're just talking Fridays, every same day, all same days. Always a level for me. It's always going to be the loss of a level. And something you need to accept on a same day is that your loss could be bigger. So you need to position size accordingly. If you're buying a Friday SPY call on a Monday, you can pretty well assume that delta is going to be accurate. However, if you're buying a Monday SPY call on a Monday and it goes against you, it's going to hurt a little bit more. So I always recommend to people, position size accordingly. Those contracts are much cheaper. So sometimes it's better to have the smaller position size with a slightly wider stop. Dollar amount loss won't be big, but percentage loss can be large. So plan accordingly. What do you think that Flipz?
Yeah, 100%. If it's same day contracts, same days for me are SPY, Qs, and XPX that I've been trading now a lot. And my position sizing literally is key for that. I play extremely small compared to what I do weeklies.
Yeah.
The shorter the week is getting, the smaller my position sizing gets. Unless I'm like, yo, this trade looks really good, then I go back to my original size. On my, even though it's on a Thursday, it's on a Wednesday, it's on a Friday, but the setup is perfect for me. I'm gonna go original size. However, the shorter the week is going, the smaller my because the movement doesn't have to be as big for you to get paid.
To get a nice return.
Yeah. I mean, I tell some people I don't play Nvidia Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah,
just
why trade? Because you're gonna trade a $600 contract to make $100. It's terrible risk reward,
I don't do that, and I don't play Apple Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday either because Apple does not give me enough. But however,
return.
Apple on a Thursday or Friday, I'm definitely watching Apple.
And then another thing for me with Apple, I like it to be around the strike prices because you don't have every dollar. So like. Correct. I hate it when say we're trading at like 190, 290. I hate trading a 195, but that's the next available strike, but the delta sucks. So when we come into Friday and we're around a strike price, I love trading Apple, but then on something like Nvidia, if you want to play $5 out of the money, $4 out of the money, it's going to cost you $600, $500 on a Monday, you only got like 30 delta. So you don't, you know, the risk to reward on those contracts just isn't very good. You know, there's like,
Exactly.
there's way easier ways to make, you know, maybe you make your $60 on an NVIDIA contract, but when it's only 10%, there's easier ways to make $60 than risking a $600 contract, you know?
Yeah, I'm not risking 600 to make 60.
No, 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 you risk like 6 to make 600. I've seen it.
Yeah. But that's why, look, you guys got to understand that there's certain stocks that I don't trade in days of the week, and it doesn't matter how perfect the setup is,
Yeah.
unless I'm like, yo, I'll switch ports for that trade. But I don't want to switch ports. I don't want that hassle. I'm so focused on my trades that I have to stick to my rules. If I break my rules and it works out, then all of a sudden I can start breaking my own rules, and that's when I start losing money.
That's when you start losing money. Exactly.
My rules don't change, and if it has been working for me and it has been working for the people following me, I'm not changing my rules. That's the way I trade. If you don't like it, don't trade with me. That's
And if you don't follow your rules, you're
Yep.
setting yourself up for failure. You'll never like being like Flipz and don't get me wrong, dude. We both like hoot and holler and have fun and shit, you know, but like we are also very calculated, and like we stop out without a problem. Who cares, you know? Like the only problem with stopping out is we feel bad that other people lost money with us, you know, but we're still going to do it and not bat an eye because you follow the rules. And if you follow your rules, your success goes through the roof, you know. Let's see what else we got in here. Where to correctly enter on a bull flag. Well, we can go back to that AMD one. There's and again, you know, I don't like naming it, but this flag here, you know, however you want to draw it, I don't know, I'd probably have it something like that. 2 ways to trade it, in my opinion. Always 2 ways to trade a flag. If you are bullish on it, uptrend, pulling back into EMA should be bullish. You can always look to buy near the bottom of it.
Yes, bottom of the flag at the EMA, 100%.
I mean, this, if you can buy this, you buy this. The other option, if you want to wait for confirmation, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, is waiting for this breakout here. The problem with buying this breakout is I don't want to buy it here. So because it's broken out, you know, I wanted that 50-cent move. That was part of my trade, you know. So buying the top of this candle is tough. The other way you can do it, and it can be riskier, is watching these previous highs and being ready to buy if it's breaking over these previous highs here, because you're getting the confirmation of the flag breakout, you're getting the confirmation of these candles, you're missing a chunk of the move, but you're waiting for confirmation, which I'm never going to scold somebody on waiting for confirmation. But for me, I try to buy the bottom of the flag because then my stop is tight. You know, my stop's tight. I always care, like, profit comes, but you need to know your entry and you need to know your stop out before you even start considering profit, you know? So I want to take the entry that is going to give me the tightest stop out if it happens to come, which is the bottom of the flag. This one happens to be perfect with breakout consolidation into EMA at the bottom of the flag. Buy it, you know? Looking at the SPY chart, when to look for pullbacks, I mean, every time it touches all-time high, you should at least be somewhat cautious, you know? Of course, it can just blow by it, but I mean, but if you're talking about some big bearish pullback, I mean, don't hold your breath. It'll come when it comes, but you're still better off sticking to bull mode until that time. Can you set an entry limit order above current price in active trader? You can. It will pop up as what's known as a buy stop, and it will do the same thing. It will show up on your chart. Say you're trying to buy this breakout, you can have a buy stop waiting here, and it purchases the contract on the way up. The risky part of that is you're buying a breakout, and a buy stop is a market order. So you're market ordering into high IV on a breakout. So it carries the risk of your fill being kind of bad. The other way to do it is a stop. I think it's a stop limit. I never use them, but the problem is when those breakouts come, frequently your limit buy gets skipped over.
Yes.
Yeah, free, like all the time, and then you get mad.
Some people say, "Hey, I was gonna buy here, and it didn't film. It just went right through." Yep, there you go. That's exactly what happened.
That's what happens when something's ripping.
I know we had about 108 people in here. Thank you so much. I know some people read the message and said, "Oh, we need over 100 people," and there was over 108 people at one time.
Sick, dude. Thank all of you. That is awesome.
Real quick, if you've been trading with me, you buy a call on the red candle to support, or on the pump, on the top of the pump to the next candle. When do you buy?
Dude, I just don't buy these breakouts. I buy this.
That's what I buy. Yep.
That's what I buy. I mean, and this is the same, you know, everybody like nobody wants AMD calls here. Everybody wants AMD calls here. Everybody wants AMD calls here. I only want AMD calls here, and I don't want to buy them here or here. Then you know, an AMD is just, it's such a technical trader, you know, and this might not be like beautiful. All it did was break out and flag back into the EMA. So if you were willing to trade this breakout, you wanted to buy here, maybe you missed it. Well, trade this breakout and maybe do the buy here. Bottom of the flag into the EMA. That's what I do. You can see exactly what the market does. You know, people frequently talk about, me included, that the market likes to do 3 legs. That's a pretty common, you know, belief and consistent statistic. So the second part of that is the legs will typically, and of course, you know, we got things like NVIDIA, SMCI, whatever, that are running to the moon, but the legs typically get smaller. And this is a beautiful example of breakout, consolidation into an EMA with another breakout that is about half the size of the first breakout. Well, you get another little breakout and then a little more push. And then this is kind of our final, you know, pullback, final breakout right here. That's just weak, you know, again, about half the size of this. And so that's when you can start to say, okay, I really need to be trimming off my position. Of course, this is an $11 move, which is insanity. Like,
but each one of those flags that River just drew, each one of those flags right there, if you've been watching the contracts, is between 27 to 35% return. Every single one of those.
And that's like, you know, I mean, and Flipz and I, we trade. In certain ways, we trade the exact same, and in certain ways, we trade completely different. And so Flipz will hit a nice position and he'll ride some of these all the way. I like to, you know, if I don't get this breakout, I buy the consolidation, I get this. Well, I sell my calls here once we've broken out, and then I start to see some consolidation, and then I just look to re-enter, you know, smaller position size, manage it based on profits, and try to catch the next breakout. If we come up here and consolidate again, I get out. Flipz rides the whole thing. I take it as 3 different trades.
I ride the whole thing one contract.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Very good point. Flipz rides the whole things while smartly trimming the entire way until he has one runner, you know? And so, you know, of course, an $11 move, the single contract is going to do a lot more, but we're getting to the same place, you know, using the same methods, just a slightly different path. Let's see what else we got here. Flipz, how do you find support and resistance? Basically exactly what we've been talking about right here, right? I mean,
if you're asking support resistance through like the morning plays, there's a couple things if you want to write them down. This I give it to everybody who I do one-on-ones with, is pre-market high, pre-market lows, yesterday's day high, yesterday's day low, close of the previous day. What's the other one? Then I go to the 4-hour time frame and I look where the gaps push, where the gaps support hold, where the double bottom hits on the longer time frames, and I write those levels. That's that. River pretty much has like my AMD chart, looks similar to that.
Well, that was a pretty sneaky. That was that high end pre-market, and look at our little bounce point.
There you go.
I love when they do the sneaky ones like that. And then because I trade them too, you trade a lot of intraday levels, but I don't, you know, maybe describing it as an intraday level isn't the best way to put it necessarily, but because you aren't going to put a level on your chart that say you're going to trade tomorrow, but we can kind of come back to this trade, and we can, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, of course, Flipz, but you know, you were buying this trade because it was pulling back to that fib level, which makes perfect sense. However, if we look left on the chart, and that's always what I try to tell people to do, if you want to know what the chart's going to do to the right, look left. If we look left on the chart, we can see that right here, you know, and this 177, we're going to put it on there. This was a support right here. And it was really the last consolidation, the last major consolidation before that final push up. We can say, you know, look left, I'll look to buy 177 if it pulls back to there. And, you know, is this level going to matter tomorrow? Yes, no, maybe, who knows? But we know that on this day it mattered. And so I don't put these levels on my charts, but I frequently listen to Flipz, and he'll say something like, buy the pullback to 177. And normally, if you look to the left, there was some sort of consolidation right there. So it's where you want to buy it. Is that how you do some of that intraday stuff?
Yeah,
Flip?
that's exactly what we do. Like for if you go to SPY, some people are like, how did you find the SPY level? We had the SPY, you can highlight pre-market high.
Yeah, let's see. I probably got them. We're doing so they'll be colored for us. Maybe not. Where was pre-market high today?
Yeah,
Is
right.
it-
Right there.
Oh yeah, right there. Oh, I just had a level there. There we go. So green line,
Oh.
pre-market high.
So that was the pullback. We closed above pre-market high and we hit XPX calls.
Like right here.
Yep, on that green candle. We closed above that. We bought the bottom because we've been playing since the bottom. We actually played pre-market lows all the way to the top.
Wow.
But I think we hit XPX 3 times, which is hitting SPY 3 times.
Mhm.
And that XPX, we closed above pre-market high. We went below it. We did not have heavy sellers. It came back above pre-market high. We took an XPX call or a SPY call, and then you sell it wherever you want it. That's the push that you want to see. You know, and then
Every
that's
time,
how
yeah.
we did that trade. Yep.
Yeah. And then it makes it nice and easy. This one's great because you got 9 EMA right below you. You got pre-market high right below you. Tight stop out. You know, it's actually a really great place to try to catch that volatile bounce on SPX. That's a sick one. That's a sick one. Do we get confused with all these lines? I mean, no, because you also have to think of it this way. Like, you know, people like, well, okay, Norvin likes to talk about like, oh, River has a million lines on his chart. And so I do trade this. This is the opening range, you know, but if you look at my chart where it is right now, this is actually, I mean, $4, and it has currently 3 levels in a $4 range. I will tell you right now, if you aren't taking note of levels every dollar on SPY, you're missing something. Like there is important levels that you are missing. You know, this thing is the most technical trader on the market. And so you need levels around, you know, you can see from right here. I mean, I got a big gap right here, probably because we ripped through it. But 480 up to 487, and I have 6 levels or 7 levels that I'm trading off, you know. Not much, nothing to get confused over, just always things that are worth taking note of. Oh, and I guess I did have that pre-market high marked, so that would have been another one. This would have been my one other level that I already had on there today. So you got to have levels. Market trades around levels. I mean, you can even see how these like reactions go, you know. I took this short today. Next short I took was
nice.
This one right here. I mean, flag up into what I consider a very strong level, even though we've probably traded that price like 4 times ever, you know, because it's brand new. But strong level to me, EMA, consolidation up into it. You short that thing, you know. With
Oh, there you go. That's a bear flag for
Yeah.
people asking.
Yeah, there you go. There's a bear
your
flag.
red candle as a pull.
Uh-huh.
There's your consolidation to the 9.
Yep, we got nice pull there. We got a nice little consolidation up to here.
There's your bear flag.
And then works the exact same way of, well, the opposite. You short the top of a bear flag. You want to be short up here if you can. And then, or this one actually just ended up being sweet and breaking down and giving you a really excellent retest.
Inverse hammer right there.
You missed this one, take this one, you know, you're good to go there, and then catch that nice little continued short off of it.
Mm-hmm. That's key. That's very nice. That's a good way how to play levels right there.
Yeah. And that's what I do. I mean, and then because of how I trade and because I have a lot of confidence in my levels, you know, I just say, you know, I assume that they aren't going to break or they're going to cause consolidation. One of them. That's all I want to see a level doing, you know, just because we bounced to this level. If I'm in calls, I'm not going to just get in short because we came to a level. I'm strictly going to manage my trade and say, hey, this is a point where I think we could either consolidate or reject, you know, or break above, whatever it is.
What happens if you're on a level, River, and if let's say you're on puts and that bear flag, the last one that we just talked about. Yep.
Uh-huh.
And the candle closes above your EMA.
Oh, I'm out. Instant.
You
I
see,
mean,
you're
I'm
out, guys.
Yeah.
You don't say, are we still holding? Are you still in your trade?
No.
No, you're out. You take a small loss. And later, if it comes back down to the same level, you re-enter the trade because that's
Yeah.
your original plan.
Exactly. And that's what I always tell people, maybe you get short up here and we get that candle close out. So you stop out. Well, then maybe we sell and we break down and we retest. You better believe I'll
You enter
re-short it
again.
right here. Like, yeah, I was wrong, no big deal. Now I'm right. I mean, like the plan is still the same. Just because the plan didn't work perfectly the first time doesn't mean just ignore it and move on.
Correct. The key in there, guys, the 100% key there is that on your first loss, you don't go in with $10,000 if you have a $15,000 port. You don't
No.
throw 66% of the trade. And then on the second time, you're gonna throw, you know what? I'm gonna throw $500. Then that's when you're correct. But you're gonna make 50% on $500 when you lost 20% on 10,000. Then you're still lost. You're still on a red day because your price or your what is the thing called? I always use, but your action, your price action sucks because you're grabbing too much. You need to understand, I'm gonna trade if my port is $1,000, I do not trade with more than 10% of trade. And if the trade is too big for my port, I'm not gonna take it.
I'm not going to take it. And that's
I'm
something
not
that I try to teach people that all the time, and it's like,
Yep.
if it's too big for your port, do not take the trade. There will be a million more trades. Like if you're normally trading, $80 Apple calls or $50 SPY calls, don't trade the $400 Nvidia call. That it's not for you, and that's no big deal. You'll get there, but you just don't ever want to put that risk on the table because maybe you trade $70 calls and you religiously take your 10%, which is great. I'm never going to tell you you're wrong. You hit a few of those and make $20, and then you hit the $400 Nvidia call and you stop out for 20%, which is I don't like stops based on percent, but it's a reasonable stop, and you lose $80. You just wiped out 10 of your normal trades. So don't you don't ever want to do that. You got to keep it consistent.
Correct.
Let's see what did I see that made me know the market was going to melt up today? I can actually show you the second that I became bullish today. So I was already bullish because obviously you have a giant name in the S&P putting in a ripper. Then the second I saw this first 5-minute candle form on Netflix with look at, we hardly even had a seller in sight. 1.8 million buyers to 114,000 sellers. To me, it was a no-brainer. Market's going to push. So I was instantly looking long on everything. Once I saw the big name that moved the market, that like the move we had overnight was completely fueled by that Netflix move. Obviously other things ran, but Netflix was the fuel to the fire. Once I saw the buyers were going to keep it going, you look to buy anything you like to trade that's been strong, whether you like to trade AMD, trade it, it's going to be strong. You like to trade Nvidia, buy the dip, trade it, probably SMCI. I don't know what it did today. It took a couple dips and then ran it, whatever you like to trade when the market is telling you it's going to be bullish, trade it. No big deal. Nothing's going to get in your way. Even me, like I've been buying the dip on Tesla at 208 every day. I bought the dip at Tesla at 208 here, printed. Bought the dip at 208 Tesla, swung it, printed. Bought the dip at 208 at Tesla, swung it, printed.
Was hot.
Just dude, that 208 area on Tesla was like, this one got no, because I think about this one on the way up. But I've been buying the dip on Tesla left and right. I ain't buying this dip anymore. But it was a print fest, buy it. When the market's bullish, buy it, give it a try. Oh, we got Norbert in the house. Oh yeah, we're getting a little late, so thank you everybody for coming. If you got to get out of here, that's just awesome. Trying to go through some questions. I don't feel like I'm somebody's asking, how do you see the flow? He uses Cheddar Flow. I think doesn't matter what you use, unusual whale, quant data. It's all a paid service though. So if it is something you're getting into, it's gonna cost you something. Unfortunately, he can't, and I can't do a demo right now of what you might see to tell you that you know, the market is going to start selling. But if you send me a DM or Flipz a DM, I'm sure either of us can send you a screenshot of what we see. Let's see what do we got tomorrow. Flipz, what are you
I
looking?
don't just have this screen, guys. This screen open. I have on the same big screen TV. I have cheddar flow on the top left connected to whatever stock I open. So for example, if I have on a chart AMD and I click AMD, then cheddar flow automatically switches to AMD, and I look at the flow that's coming in for AMD, and then I just play around with numbers. I play around with 150,000, 250,000, over a mil, because $150,000 in AMD, it kind of like triggers my alert. $150,000 in Apple, I just skip over it.
Yep.
Because of the market cap.
Because who cares? Yeah, because who cares? You know, yeah.
Yeah. So you have to understand those traits a little bit. And when you see the same amount of money, 150, 130, 170, 200, all of a sudden the stock coming in together, that's when I tell you guys, there's like 2.3, 2.5 million. It's not what somebody just all of a sudden just says, here, I'm going to drop $2 million. I just start seeing small orders being bought and not coming off. For example, somebody will put $100,000 and they didn't take it off. It actually got filled. The order is filled. It's in.
Yep.
Then I'm like, oh shit. Okay, this person did get filled. There's another big order coming up right behind it. If it works or not. But you have to be staring at the screen. You don't just say, hey, it looks good, I'm gonna buy. Then you don't know what you're buying.
You don't know what you're buying.
Or you don't know where they have their limit order set to. Or you know, did you chart on the 4 hour? Did you chart on the 1 hour? Do you know where a big sell order sold last time? Put a line there. Make sure that that's your limit. That's what you're gonna get out. You have to be doing this constantly. It's not like I'm gonna grab a call. And so you know what? Sometimes it does work. People say I'm gonna grab a call and close my computer. Many times I want to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, my head.
But I can't. You know, I can't
do that.
I can't do it. Yeah. Let's see. We got any other questions here? We kind of did some support and resistance. We talked that. Yeah, I like finding them on the longer time frames for sure. 4 hour, daily, weekly are definitely my go-tos. And then for short time frames, I like previous day high and low, same as Flip said, pre-market high and low. Those are all important. Closing prices of previous days tend to be important. VWAP. So you're asking a question. And first, I mean, no, it's never that simple. If it ever seems that simple, then it doesn't work. You know, it won't always work for you. Something that I really recommend if you're trading EMAs or VWAP, you want angle to them. A sideways EMA is good for nothing. I mean, sure, there's some scalps available. You want trending EMAs if you're trading them. Same as VWAP. You know, when you see VWAP kinking down, we're retesting it, you can look to short something like that. However, if we're looking at like, when we go back to SPY, you got EMAs slammed like this sideways and like VWAP sideways, you're gonna get burnt. Like, you can buy these dips and make money, but if you aren't scalping, you're gonna end up holding too long and losing money. So if you're trading EMAs or VWAP, like, wait for them to show you where they want to go. Here's another prime example. People were getting beat up in this, 2 hours of chop. All of a sudden we start getting some movement up to them. Look to buy those dips, and then obviously it's not always going to go like that, but you can see how much more helpful the VWAP or EMAs or whatever it is when they're angled. You always want them angled, because the people that were short and below VWAP were getting blown out 2 candles later. The people that were long and above VWAP getting blown out 2 candles later. So you always want some angle to them. No, I knew that somebody was going to ask me that when I gave my Netflix analogy there. No, I won't say that the market's just going to follow Tesla tomorrow, because look at Tesla, the SPY, QQQ, the Dow, every single thing has been setting new all-time highs. All big names have been setting new all-time highs, while Tesla has been throttled. So, I'm not going to say that the market is going to follow Tesla tomorrow by any means. So for the past, since the beginning of the year, it hasn't cared what Tesla is doing. How do you find the top spot to take profit? Levels. levels, EMAs, whatever it is, you buy this dip, you better be trimming at EMAs, you better be trimming at VWAP, and you better be trimming at your next level, you always levels, always trim at them. And you never know, you never know you bought the top or, sold the top or bought the bottom until it happens. Everybody thinks they're always going to catch the top, but they're catching the top like 1 out of 10 times,
I'm out of here, River.
You out of here? Right on, Flipz. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll probably call it a night here. I feel like we got through it. I don't think we're missing too much, dude. Wow. Oh yeah, Flipz is out. Thank you, Flipz. Everybody tell Flipz
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. And with that, we will probably be calling it a night.
108 people, man. I'm so happy. Congrats.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, man. I appreciate you being here. That was a good one, Flipz. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. See you guys tomorrow.
Hell yeah, man. Have a good night. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Make sure you tell Flipz thank you so much. Love it when that guy gets in here. We're lucky to have him. And sorry if we missed some questions. I know we missed some questions. Thank you all for being here. We'll get to them next time. Right on, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.